So here we go. Everybody ready? And then, do you want a clock? I keep going over and I don't.
Yeah, what do you want for a clock?
Set a timer.
Right, I know. Connor's doing the workout out there.
I can set my.
So what time is it?
Connor! It's 18:04.
18:04.
It's 4 minutes after 6.
Okay.
You want me to set it for 45 minutes?
I think we can be done totally in 30. So like,
Questions.
All right, I'll set
Do
a
you want
timer
to
for
flash me
30.
the 15-minute mark and then?
yeah, just flash that to me every now and then.
I set it for 30, so when the alarm
And then
goes
flash it
off.
to me every now and then.
Random cards. Do you
Yeah,
want-
you can just like give me an idea of what our time is. Or if you set it up, I can just glance at it.
I think my phone
Go dark. Yeah, just flash me every now and then. And then I'll be like, oh, because otherwise I could talk forever.
You're looking for the phone
So,
number?
okay, you guys ready? I'll get this thing started. All right. Starting 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we're back teaching part 3 of 3 of our urinary incontinence, how to stop drips and dribbles and leaks.
Yes.
So we talked the first time about what do we have inside, what our micturition cycle is, meaning how does our brain and our bladder work together to tell us about when we need to pee and how to make that happen. We talked a bit about behaviors and how we can affect this micturition cycle in such a way that it can create problems. We talked about what some of the problems can be, and some of those were surgery, some of those are diet, our intake, and some of those were our behaviors and how we're reinforcing these altered habits, such as the JIC or just in case pee, going to the bathroom because you're getting on the road and you never know when you're going to need to go, so you better go now just in case. So we talked about those kind of things. So what we're going to talk about today is how do we tie this all up? We've kind of corrected the behaviors. We talked about some of those altered habits. We talked about how much to drink, and now we're going to talk about how do we actually work the muscles of the pelvic floor. So in the past, I brought my model of my pelvic floor, and in my rush to get a couple props, I forgot the pelvic floor model. But what we're going to do is we're going to tighten up these muscles inside that people call your Kegel muscles. They're really known as your pelvic floor muscles. They're the floor of our core. So first you need to know how to locate them. So for someone who is okay looking at themselves, you could take a mirror, a handheld mirror, and put that between your legs, looking at your perineum, the tissue right in this region, and you could see that there's actually muscles at that region. So if you do what you think is a Kegel, where you're pulling in to be able to stop the gas, you'll see the perineal tissue lift up. Or if you gently bear down, you'll see things come downward. You could also take a finger in your own private area, and you could sit on the potty or be in your bed, and you could insert a finger, try to squeeze, and you could feel that you have tension coming around your finger. You can use your partner, and you could have feedback from your partner. If you're trying to squeeze and your partner validates that you actually have created a tension around a finger or body part, then you know that you have found that area correctly. We talked about this before, but I'm going to bring this up again. So you could try and stop the urine. So what I said before is that's a test, and it's only a test. You're going to use it to locate your pelvic floor muscles. So you could try to urinate, and while you are peeing, try to stop the urine by squeezing inside. If you have slowed it down or deflected it or truly stopped it, you used your pelvic floor muscles or your Kegel muscles. But it's only a test. I don't want you to do that on a regular basis, because if you do, as we talked about in the past, you could be interrupting that cycle. And we talked about the peeing symphony. So if you interrupt this beautiful cycle where the muscle inside the bladder is squeezing and it's trying to empty the urine, but you are stopping it, then what happens is your bladder starts to learn only to release a certain amount, and you end up having leftover urine in your bladder. So it's only a test to be done once a month, no more than that. But beyond that, it would help you to locate your pelvic floor muscles. One other thing you can do is try to hold back gas. So squeezing inside, seeing if you can make that stop. So all of those are great ways to locate your pelvic floor muscles or kegel muscles. So now we want to know what do we do with them once we've located them? How do we do this contraction? So just like anything else, when you exercise, we have to talk about timing, endurance, and strength. Every muscle has those issues. So you not only have to make the muscle stronger so that they do their job, but you have to get the right timing. If you're about to sneeze and you can't grab in time, you may miss it and the urine may actually leak. If you don't have the endurance to hold up for 5 sneezes in a row, you may find that you're going to leak. And if you don't have enough strength, you may find that you're going to leak. Boy, I sound like, looks like you may be a redneck, but you may be. Okay, so think about timing, endurance, and strength for all of this. We're going to first work on our strength. And as we do these, we're working on motor control, which is going to address the timing. And the more we do and the longer we can hold, we address the endurance. Just like you guys are doing it here at the gym. So I drew a couple of diagrams. This first one is just a typical hold, sustained, and then let it go. So I said 5 to 10 seconds. For some people, 5 seconds is far too long. Some people can only hold 3 seconds. But maybe you're going to aim for 5. It's a nice number to start with. If you hold for 5 seconds, and then you relax for 10 seconds, that's 15 seconds. In 1 minute, you can get 4 of those done. Sitting out here on Route 50, waiting for a light to change, you guys don't cross as often down here as we do up in Easton. But if you're going back and forth across 50, it's a 5-minute light. 5 minutes, you can get 20 of these sustained contractions done with a 5-second hold, 10-second rest cycle, or vice versa. 10-second hold, 5-second rest cycle. Or commercials, they're often 5 seconds long, but 5 minutes long. So think about doing your sustained contractions during commercials. Then you've got 20 of them in. 20 a day. I'm coming back to that one. It's going to be more than that. 20 at commercial. 20 at commercial. 20 at commercials. Now that's a lot to start with. If you're first starting out a program, just like any gym program, let's say you start with holding for 5 seconds, resting for 10 seconds, and you do 4 of them in 1 minute. Maybe you're going to aim to do 10 of them and see how you feel. If you're really, really weak, that may do it for you.
Hold for 10 seconds.
Hold for 5, rest for 10.
Yeah.
If you can hold for 10, if you're strong enough, then go ahead and hold for 10 seconds. But you may do repetitions. So maybe you're going to repeat it 10 times. And might think, well, I've had enough of this for right now. Come back at lunchtime, come back at dinner time, so that you've got 30 in. And I'd like you to aim to do 30 to 60 a day, depending on what you're working on. If you really are weak and you're really trying to build these muscles, getting somewhere between 45 and 60 in a day is going to greatly help you. Research shows if you can do your pelvic floor exercises and you have no issues, you're not leaking, you just need to do maintenance. And for maintenance, you should hold 10 seconds and you should only do 10 of them a day. That's all that is needed. If you think back to when we were first talking about this, I was saying that our pelvic floor muscles work in conjunction with other muscles. Our transverse abdominis, the sucking the gut muscle, or zipper up the pants muscle, the transverse abdominis works as a co-contractor to the pelvic floor. Whenever you're out doing exercises in the gym, you're kicking in the pelvic floor. So if you're doing well and you don't have any issues, you just want to maintain, do 10-second holds, 10 a day, and stay active. But realize that you do have to do those pelvic floor exercises because we talk about specificity of muscle training. You want to work your biceps, there is no other way to do it but to work the biceps. You've got to work them. You can't sit there and do tricep exercise and think, well, I was holding the weight and I was slightly bent, so biceps are engaged. You have to do the bicep exercise to be able to get what you want out. Make sense? So then, okay, we're going to come to diagram 2. Here's where you sustained it for just a brief time, and you're using the action potential of that muscle. So you've gone to what you think is your top height, and on top of that, without letting go, you're going to kick it more, then let it go. Does that make sense? So if you were, I don't know, pushing your weights up and down, you come to here, this is about as much as you can max out on. Without lowering it, add a little bit more, pulsing at the top, and then come back down. There's a great researcher and physical therapist in Norway, Carrie Bow. And Carrie Bow teaches functional exercise classes as well as her physical therapy. So when she teaches this method, she's doing exercise with people. She'll say, hold, ew. It's so funny because she's this world-renowned physical therapist, but she's screeching. So just think of Carrie Bow here. Hold, and I say hold 2 or 3 seconds, and then pulse, and then drop. We're doing motor control with that one. So now you held it, you got your endurance, and I'm adding a little bit more motor control, then you're going to let it go. Then we're going to come to like pyramids or elevators. So you're going to kick it in just a little ways. And if you used to go to department stores in the big cities, you know, 2nd floor, women's underwear, 3rd floor, housewares, 4th floor, toys, right? Back in those days. So you're going to take it to the 2nd floor, then the 4th floor, then the 6th floor, and then you could let it drop. Go again, 2nd floor, 4th floor, 6th floor. See if you can then visit the 4th floor again and the 2nd floor before letting it go. This is a lot of motor control to do this. And it's hard. We do this in the clinic on biofeedback. So we've got electrodes that are attached to you, and they're measuring the motor activity, the electrical activity of the muscles. And it's really cool when you see that, you realize this is a really hard thing to do. But once you get it, what a great way to do motor control, to learn how to really gauge how many motor fibers, how strongly you're contracting, and add to it, add to that, and then slowly release that. Really amazing way to do some training. But you gotta start with the first one. Start there. So then here is just a wave oscillating up and down. We call this quick flex. So quick flex, squeeze release, squeeze release, squeeze release. I think I may have said the last session, if you were standing in target and you're holding your place in line, and all of a sudden you feel a strong urge to go, you've got to go to the bathroom. What are you going to do? You're going to do what's called an urge drill. Urge drill is this. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release 5 times. That's going to send a message to the bladder. And as we talked about before, the muscle inside the bladder is called the detrusor. When the pelvic floor muscles are active, the detrusor cannot be. So you're kicking in the pelvic floor muscles, telling the bladder, stop squeezing, stop trying to empty. I'm working over here. So the bladder has to shut off. And that may buy you the time you need to bring up your order at Target and then get yourself to the bathroom. Or it may get rid of your urge altogether. So then don't answer the urge. Wait till the next one comes up. What's happening in that case is that you're building your bladder's capacity to store more. Normal capacity is about 8 to 12 ounces. Some people have 22. That's a huge bladder capacity. 8 to 12 ounces is normal. So, urge drills. So just like any other exercise program, we're going to start off easy and we're going to build. One of the easiest ways to start your pelvic floor exercises is in bridge position. Everybody knows what that is. So if you are lying on your back in your bed or on the floor and you've got your buttocks lifted. So head is here, feet are down here, and I lift up and I hold myself up. Pelvic floor muscles are already in the upward position, because as I contract pelvic floor, they're lifting up. Going into a bridge, I've given them a head start. You can do your pelvic floor exercises in a bridge position. Before or middle week, that's a great place to start. The second way to do them is lie on your back. The medical term for that is supine. You're just lying flat, your knees can be bent, but your buttocks is not lifted. Do your exercise program without gravity, so gravity is eliminated. Gravity is assisted. This is gravity is eliminated. Now you're going to recline a little bit. So you're kind of kicking back against your pillows, not quite all the way up. You're maybe at 45 degrees, reclined. So you're making the muscles work a little bit. Then your full gravity in sitting, although your perineum or this region is still supported. The next harder thing to do is standing. Now you're using your pelvic floor muscles as well as your transverse abdominis for posture. So you're standing up, you're doing these exercises while they're also working to help you maintain your upward posture. It's pretty hard. The hardest one is called functional. And this is what everybody's doing out here in the CrossFit gym. And that's what all of us are doing every day as we're walking around in life, and we're sneezing, and we're jumping, and we're playing tennis, and doing what we're doing, and we're trying not to leave. So to start to build on a functional training program, you could stand up and pretend, after you've done all the others, you can pretend that you're sneezing. So you're gonna, just before you sneeze, kick in that pelvic floor and then do your sneeze. Maybe you do 3 or 4 of them before you sneeze 4 or 5 times. You're gonna grab right before you start your series of sneezes. See if you can maintain that, and then stop your sneezing, let go of your pelvic floor muscle. You could also go from sit to stand. Right before you come up and rise, you're sitting, grab your pelvic floor, stand up. Right before you sit down, grab your pelvic floor, sit back down. You could walk up a step, grab your pelvic floor, step up, release it. Grab your pelvic floor, step back down. You can grab your pelvic floor, kick a muscle up and down. Grab your pelvic floor, step back down. You can grab your pelvic floor, kick a muscle up and down. Or take a weight in your arm, lift it up, whichever way you want to do that. So we're starting to build a function. I had a patient one time he had a prostate surgery, prostatectomy. And he wanted to get back to bowling. A little girlfriend on the bowling alley. And he wanted to get back to bowling. So his functional program was doing this lunge step, getting him being able to contract that pelvic floor, and we had biofeedback, watching him step into it and really grab that muscle, because this open position of the perineum is really a vulnerable position and an easy way to leak.
What the men have?
Yes, men have pelvic floor dysfunction.
Yes, I know after my dad had prostate surgery, he had trouble with dribbling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So they've cut through that region. They have all of the 12 holes in their abdomen, and the prostate is it surrounds the urethra, the P tube. So they have also a sphincter there too. So here's this tube with this prostate, and they have to take the damaged prostate off. And part of the sphincter is coming off. They have to spare that sphincter, but it just depends on how much damage, how much of that sphincter they've taken off. And we don't know that exact length of what happens, where that critical threshold is, but they always have to do muscle retraining to be able to make sure that they can stay continent or dry.
So men should do Kegels as well.
Yes. They don't have as many issues as we do. We're carrying children. You know, we've got this open portal. Our design is a little different from theirs. So we don't have as much security, if you will, as a man does, but they certainly do have their issues. They can get incontinent. So I'm going to give credit to a friend of mine, Bruce Crawford, who is a urogynecologist out in Reno, and he's got a program called Pilates, pelvic floor Pilates. So he works on this functional component, and he has tested numerous muscles and found the ones, like the top 10, of what are going to be the hardest ones to do and the easiest ones to train your pelvic floor and functional matter. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but one of them is a lunge or a squat. So if we went into a squat with Pilates method, you would do your regular squat. Okay, so let's do 3 times. Then you're going to go down and grab your pelvic floor while holding your squat. So you're kicking that in, and holding your squat. Then you're going to pulse both. So now I'm going to pulse my squat at the same time. I'm pulsing my pelvic floor. In, or lift, lift, lift. Then you come out. You could do a lunge the same way. You go into the lunge, you go into it, come out of it. So just the pure exercise to start with. Then you would go into the exercise, hold the pelvic floor, pulse both. So lift, 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 and then come out of it. He's got a sideline leg lift, leg straight, leg bent. You're going to lift that up and down actively. Then you're going to lift and hold the pelvic floor. Then you're going to pulse both. What do you do? Stand up. So you can do that out here. Really down. With any of the exercises you guys are working on, first do the exercise repeatedly. Do the exercise and hold the pelvic floor. Then pulse. You're getting sustained. You're getting action potential. You're getting the quick flips. Squeeze out the eye.
All the stuff you gotta do.
Yeah.
Just squeeze it all.
So one other functional thing that's a great way to build them in is when you're brushing your teeth. So we have found in research that doing like the skier pose, if everybody ever downhill skied, you're going into this pose here, you're squatted, your pelvic bowl is tilted posteriorly, you're squeezing the pelvic floor, hold there and do your teeth brushing. Yeah, that might be a lot to do. So you might let it go and pulse, but you're giving an advantage to your pelvic floor. You can do your pulses, but you're in this great position while you're doing your exercise. So a nice functional way to build in your exercise for that. I do want to bring into mind, as we said, overall fitness is really key to keeping your pelvic floor toned and trying to help avoid exercise, in addition to the specific training of the muscles. But I want you to think of one other thing, mind games. So mind games. If we're driving in the driveway and your body goes, I'm so close, that bathroom is right there. And all of a sudden your bladder starts to contract and you're feeling like you just can't make it in there. And if that keeps happening to you, start to train your brain. So lay in your bed at night and picture, I'm driving in my driveway, I'm fine. I'm parked in my garage, fine. I get out of my car, still fine. I see myself walking up my steps, hand on the door, still fine. See yourself going to the potty, being able to open up your pants and sit down before you ever have to go. If you find anywhere along those steps is a place where you start to leak, go back to that one scene and see yourself making it through that scene. Just like if you ever played sports, I played field hockey and I wanted to do that flick. And I would picture running down the pitch and I'd get to that player, that opponent who's in front of me, and I'd picture myself flicking right over their stick. And the more I pictured that, when I was in a game, I flicked it right over their stick. You know, so if you picture yourself in that scene and you come upon wherever it is that you're having a sudden urge and you just can't make it through, see yourself getting through that. Play that mind game over and over and over, and that will help you to overcome that tendency. Same thing, if you were laying in bed at night, you're finding that, boy, 3 o'clock in the morning comes and I have to get out of bed. And as we said before, you may have missed this, the closer you are to 70, you will get up one time at night. And if you drank within 2 hours of going to bed, you will get up at night. But if you have done the behavior things and you're trying to stay in bed and not drink for 2 hours before you go to bed, or you're just lost my train of thought. And then it happens, a long week. So, you can play those games and you can see yourself getting through that night and not having to get up to go pee. So from there, I'm going to open it up to questions.
Oh, okay. So,
I'm going to end our thing.
I never feel like I have to go all the time. That's never my problem. I think I'm a little bit dehydrated most of the time.
Okay.
And what I do have, I've had 6 kids, so what I do have a problem with is when I sneeze, I have to do this real fast. Or, there'll be a spot, of urine. And so I definitely have to, I'm familiar with the Kegel, I definitely have to start working on that.
So the first thing you said, I don't feel like I have to go to the bathroom all the time.
Yeah.
So that's called an urge incontinence, an urgency.
Yeah, I never
So
had
that's
that.
different from what you're talking about, which is stress incontinence. You have increased pressure to the abdomen, which causes pressure on the bladder, which makes you perceive that you have to pee. So that's stress incontinence. And then you have to cross your legs because you don't have enough control of the pelvic floor muscles. So you're doing something else to help hold that in.
Because the sneeze comes on real quick. So I'm not thinking how to.
If you can go back and listen to the first 2 of the series, I think you'll find a lot of the information is there. But that's where you need to build the endurance, the timing, and the strength of the muscles. And I think you'll learn about that's stress incontinence. That's really what the workshop was about.
What do you mean stress incontinence?
So there's 2 forms of incontinence. There's urge and stress, or mixed. So 3. So urge incontinence means you feel like you have to go a lot, or you're on frequently, or you always have an urge. Then there's stress incontinence when there's increased pressure to the belly, cough, sneeze, increased pressure to the belly causes you to leak.
Yeah,
and then
we're laughing,
Right. And then there's mixed. You have a combination of both.
Yeah.
So stress incontinence is a strength issue. Urge incontinence is from something else. But stress incontinence is what this whole thing is about. And that's what you have.
Yeah.
So go back and listen. I think it's on, you can probably catch it on the Facebook page.
Yeah. Well,
it is correctable.
Just to do these, just to do the strengthening.
So we talked about too, that if you're finding that your kegels aren't working, it may be that you're already too tight inside and you need to release the muscles and lengthen them before you go back and strengthen them. Because you can't get any more grip out of this muscle. Make sense? Like if you've got a bicep that's too tight and you're holding something, and let's just say this weighs a lot, I'm really gripping, I'm really holding it, and somebody puts something extra in my hand and I collapse. I couldn't get anything else out of my bicep because it was already too short. If your pelvic floor muscles are used to gripping and holding in there tightly, and every time you leap, you keep gripping, and I'm going to leap, you grip. So subconsciously, you keep gripping. Well, the interlocking muscles are locked, and they're stuck like this. A short muscle is what they've become. Short muscles are weak muscles. You need to lengthen them so they can glide and do their function. But overly short muscles are weak muscles.
How about the difference between core tightening? I know Kegels. I'm glad that I'm a nurse because I learned this when I was 20 years old as a nurse. So I always knew that Kegels and all of these. They taught us all that way back. So Kegels. And then, like she was saying, the whole, when you just hold through all your glutes, like you could, I feel like I could do all the core, the Kegels, and the glutes all at once. Is there disadvantage to that?
No, so actually, there's 2 thoughts on that one. So there's the purists, let me just close that. So there's the purists who are like, just do your kegels, make it just your pelvic floor, which there's a lot of value to that. You need to learn how to just do your kegels. Just train those muscles.
To isolate just
But
first, right?
come sit in this chair, man. Let me show you something. Sit right here. So I want you to pull your pelvic floor muscles in, just do your pelvic floor kegel.